Hey guys, this is the Revenge 44 doing another Valiant review. This time I'm doing a review on Shadow Man 1. Um, this has been a long waited comic for Valiant. They announced it a few months back, and people have been really anxious for it because people just like their Shadow Man. Um, he's cool. I mean, and it's kind of notable because he's one of the very few Cajun superheroes, like Louisiana superheroes, and I'm from Louisiana, so I like that concept. I mean, I don't let it make me biased towards the character, but it's still pretty cool because I mean, it's nice to have somebody to root for on your home state. Of course, he lives in New Orleans. I'm not really that close to New Orleans, so I could care less about if he's actually from New Orleans, but it's still cool. One, my biggest, I mean, this is don't get me wrong. This is a good comic. This is a really well done comic. It's got some great stuff in it. Really cool visuals, and set a pretty good storyline. But my complaint is that it's just not really Shadow Man. It doesn't. It's so different from the '90s Shadow Man. Like the origin, the character, his costume, the setup. It's all different. He's like a completely different character, and that's the thing that kind of bothers me with it. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna get all butthurt about them changing my character. So I'm not gonna, I'm still gonna read these because I'm really invested in this new Valiant universe, and I want to read everything I can about them. So I'm definitely still gonna read the Shadowmans. I'm gonna try to look past how different the character is now and try to embrace him for the character he is now. But at the same time, I just wanted to throw that out to people who haven't read this yet. That don't expect this to be the '90s Shadow Man. Don't expect this to be the very unpowered Shadow Man. You kind of with the light blue costume, the big old ponytail, the jazz loving Shadow Man, because you don't see none of that in this issue. Maybe later he'll be a jazz guy, but you don't see any of that in this issue. It basically starts off with kind of like a flashback to original Shadow Man, because even in the '90s Valiant universe there was multiple Shadow Man throughout the years. They were kind of like guardians of New Orleans against evil. So this one starts off with the Shadow Man's father, and you see that Shadow Man's wife is pregnant for our current Shadow Man, and he's going into one final battle that he's got to defeat. He's basically got to defeat Dark. Dark's like the main villain of the Shadow Man comic books. He's just kind of like this voodoo necromancer kind of guy, all magical, powerful dude. He's got all these tattoos all over his body. He's a very disturbing looking character, actually. Basically, Shadow Man's got to go one last fight against him. Try to save New Orleans from because as you see in this really cool looking panel. Try to zoom in a little bit so you guys can actually kind of enjoy this panel because it's really cool looking. Basically, Dark is trying to open something called a dead zone, or the dead side, and that is not anything that's ever done in the original comic books. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it ain't good. Nothing called the dead side can possibly be good. They also added all these new characters. Like Shadow Man kind of has a little posse going on, like a little team of defenders in New Orleans. Like this, there's this old guy in a wheelchair and this kind of hot black chick with all these tattoos, and it's just like they got this little team going, and they're trying to fight off the demons and stuff. But they're not going to be able to do it on their own. And there's a really cool. I love this line that the old guy has. I forget. I don't know. They say his name somewhere in the comic, but I forget. And, this monster's about to kill him, and he has a great line. He's like, "Hope you choke on me." I mean, that's just badass. It's like, you're gonna eat me, but you better choke on me, bitch. I just love it. This is badass. I do like the art. The arts. This is probably the best art I've. In my opinion, this is probably the best art of all the Valiants. I really love this artwork right here of Shadow Man coming in and killing that zombie guy with a scythe. He's got this really kind of badass looking scythe. We'll also get to see Dark pops up here. They kind of have their little standoff, and Dark ends up killing Shadow Man. He ends up stabbing Shadow Man in the chest, and they both get thrown in the portal, and they both disappear, and it kind of locks up the portal, saving the day. But that can't last forever. Because we know that Dark's gonna come back and cause problems. So basically, and here we come back to. Oh, sorry, I was kind of reading a little bit. Sorry, we come back to present day, and we got Jack. Bone. I can't even pronounce his last name, but we got Jack, who's actually our current Shadow Man. He's at like a diner in New Orleans. He's actually been. He found out he found out his mom left New Orleans when and that she ended up disappearing and put him in foster care, and he's kind of like he's ended up growing all these different homes and all these different kind of like environments. So he's kind of become like a jack of all trades, and like he's picked up a couple of all these different skill sets. Like in this issue, we see that he's a history buff. We see that he can pick locks, and he can get himself out of handcuffs. And we get to see a couple of skill sets of him in this issue. But now he's coming back to his hometown because he wants to learn about his father and what happened, his family. He wants to find out what happened, what his family's about. So that's pretty cool. And basically, he hires like a PI that explains to him how his parents were both like murderers and criminals, all these different charges, and so he's really off put by that, and he just kind of gets mad at himself. Like, this is great right here. We got these two cops going into this. They get called to dispatch for some kind of crime, and they're not sure what they're walking into. They walk into and this is kind of a graphic picture. So any little, if you're watching this with your little kids next to you, you might want to push them away. It's really graphic. And my computer can't really do this scene justice, but basically there's a horrible glare on it. It's a really messed up scene with this entire bar is just massacred. There's people hanging off the rafters. They're being you can't really see in this picture, but they're being tied up on the rafters by like intestines and stuff. It's a pretty gruesome picture, and the cops just freaking out. They're like Jesus, get everybody here, but then the really messed up part is that all these body parts, all these intestines, hands, eyeballs are all kind of moving around. They're all going to the same place and forming a shape, which ends up becoming this. Got this villain here called Mr. Twist. Well, he calls himself that. This is a really disgusting, creepy, this messed up villain, and he's also like really kind of sarcastic and wise ass, which is just makes it even worse. He basically ends up throwing some chunks of his skin or flesh, which just sounds disgusting. He ends up throwing them, and they go inside the cops' mouths, and they basically possess the cops. They turn them into his followers, and it's all messed up. And we have a little flashback of Shadow Man getting his little talisman that his mom gives him, that was his dad's, and he gets all mad. He's at the lakeside. He decides to throw the talisman away because he doesn't want anything to do with his family anymore. And apparently Mr. Twist is looking for the new Shadow Man. Like he's trying to. I think his plan is to try to defeat to kill the Shadow Man before he becomes Shadow Man. And so the two cops end up picking Shadow Man up, and they end up trying to kill him. And Shadow Man is able to he's able to get out of his handcuffs. He has a little fight with him, but he's still a human. He's still completely human at this point. So the fight's not really ending very well because they end up shooting him a couple times. They shoot him like twice in the back, and he's getting ready to die. But then the actual Shadow Man, the spirit, this is different from the original comics. The actual spirit of Shadow Man pops up, and you find out the amulet was protecting him, keeping him safe, from the Shadow Man taking him over. But now that he's gotten rid of the amulet, Shadow Man can come out, and they could just kind of join forces, like they join bodies, and then Shadow Man's born, and this is a really cool panel. He's getting ready to bring down the whoop ass on these guys. So I love that. I love how the issue ends with Shadow Man becoming Shadow Man. So overall, really awesome art. I mean, it's the best art so far in any of the Valiant runs, in my opinion. Really good story. It's still setting up stuff. It's building up. It's a pretty good horror comedy. It's got some really shocker moments. all weird continuity issues aside, it's a really good issue, and I'd probably give it like a 7. So thank you guys for watching.